Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom. I hope everyone is doing well. This is the day that Yah has made, and I shall rejoice and be glad in it. I am grateful for another opportunity to come before you to continue the message on His voice. And I hope if you have listened to the first part that you were truly blessed and inspired by it, and that you understand what was said. Yah speaks, and He is still speaking. And so we want to continue with that today. And this part will focus on you having a ear to hear. Or we're asking the question, do you have a heart to hear His voice? Okay, we're going to show from the scripture how our ancestors only had His voice. They didn't have the Bible. They only had His voice. So we're starting again with John chapter 10, verse 27. Yahushua said, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." So we want to bring clarity to something first. There are some persons or people who believe that they can follow the Torah, which is the instructions or law of Yah, because they say they're following the Torah because it's in the quote-unquote Old Testament, or the Torah was written in Hebrew, or Iberect. And these persons do not believe in or accept Yahushua as the Son of Yah, because according to them, He was in the quote-unquote New Testament. And the New Testament, they say, was written by the Greeks. That's religion. There are some people who say they believe and accept Yahushua as the Son of Yah because Yahushua represents the quote-unquote New Covenant. But these people do not believe or think they have to follow the Torah or instructions of Yah, because the Torah or the instructions of Yah, according to them, is in the quote-unquote Old Testament. And the Old Testament, according to them, was done away with. That's religion. And it is what many quote-unquote believers are practicing and calling it relationship, when they can take this and leave that, or they accept this part and leave the other part. But it's actually the spirit of religion. Religion divides. Religion is confusing. Yah is not the order of confusion. And He is one. He's not divided. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah. The Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. The Word is not divided. The Bible is divided. And many people are reading the Bible and thinking that the Word is divided, because the Bible is divided into old and new. Man did that. Yahushua was the Word in the beginning. He was the Word in the end, or He is the Word in the end. Revelations 22:13. He is the proceeding Word now. Yahushua quoted Deuteronomy 8:3 and Matthew 4:4 when He spoke to Asatan. Man does not live by bread only, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yah. And I worded it like that to show to those that the quote-unquote New Testament came out of what you call the Old, because they didn't have the Bible. So the apostles and Yahushua quoted from the scripts or the scrolls, which is the Torah. And that's why he quoted Deuteronomy 8:3. You'll find that in Matthew 4:4. So Yahushua said, man does not live by bread only, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. Yah is speaking. Do you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice? A few weeks ago, before I recorded the message, The Authority of the Head Covering, the Ruah was speaking to me about his word. I mentioned in the last teaching. He said that Yahushua is the word. This is what he was saying to me. Yahushua is the law, the Torah, and you cannot have one without the other. If you are truly following Yahushua, like person that follow Yahushua, you are following the law, the instructions of Yah. This is why it's important to know his voice. So when others are coming with false doctrines out of their flesh, the ruler of truth, the emir of truth, will be able to lead you into all truth. Yahushua was present, very present in the Tanakh, or the Old Testament, and the writings of the prophets. We call that the Tanakh. He was the word that went to Abraham in Genesis 15:1. You can check this out. After these things, the word of Yah came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram. I am your shield and your exceeding great reward. Okay, now, this was so powerful to me because, we were told in grammar English that the name of a person, place, or thing is always written in capital letter. And if you read, when you go in any version of the scripture and you look at that, when they say the word, normally it is written with a capital W. The word, that's referring to Yahushua. And then some places you would see the lowercase W. So it's making a distinction. Now I'm grateful for the elder who, when the father was dealing with me with the word, and I'm trying to understand what he was saying because I'm trying to put this all together. And the elder made that so clear because prior to that, someone was saying to me about how some persons in Israel don't believe in Yahushua. And I was saying, but Yahushua is the Torah. How do you separate it? And so when the elder came and he showed us that the word, Yahushua was very present in the Torah. When we see the word came, that was Yahushua. And to me, when I heard that night, it's like it made everything just so clear. And it was so powerful because I'm looking and I'm seeing the distinction between the uppercase, or what we call the capital letter W, and sometimes you will see the lowercase w. So when we see that, as in this case, it's really talking about Yahushua. Okay? So that's why I say Yahushua was very present in the Tanakh. It was the word, he was the word, capital W, that went to Abram. Genesis 15:1. After these things, the word of Yah came to Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram. I am your shield and your exceeding great reward. He was the captain of Yah's army that appeared to Joshua. Joshua 5:14-15. He was the word that came to Samuel in 1 Samuel 15:10-11. He was the word that went to Eliyahu and 1 King 17:2. And he was the word that came to Jeremiah and Jeremiah 33. So if you look up all those scriptures, you will see that Yahushua was very present in the Tanakh. Okay? Yahushua was the word of Yah in the flesh, according to John 1:14. Yahushua is the law. He said in John 14:16, I am the way, Psalms 119:1, the truth, which is the law, according to Psalms 119:142, and the life. Yahushua, the law, redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. but curses everyone who hangs on the tree. Galatians 3:13. The law did not die on the tree. Like some people say, oh, the law is done away with. No. Because Yahushua was the law, Yahushua rose. Yahushua is alive. The law, therefore the law, the Torah, which is the instructions of Yah, is quite alive. Yahushua, the Word in the flesh, departed, and he sent the Spirit of the law, the Spirit of truth, who will lead and guide us into truth, according to John 16:13. So I'm just showing you how present Yahushua is and making the connection with him and the law. Okay, I am a strong believer that you do not need any to quote-unquote teach you about Yah. Meaning, you do not need to go to theology school to learn about Yah. He will reveal himself to you if you seek him with all of your heart. If you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice. The Ruach HaKodesh is the teacher. And if you're like me, I do not like second and third information. I prefer to hear directly from him, the Ruach, myself. That's why I've sought him for his voice. So I've learned to sit and listen and wait in his presence. And I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. Psalm 63:1. Oh Yah, you are my Yah. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. Do you have a heart to hear and a heart to listen to his voice? Are you seeking him? The Bible, which contains scriptures and writings of the apostles, went through many years of processing, translation, and versions, as we have explained in the first part. So how do you know it is authentic? That's what a lot of persons say. A lot of persons say, I don't believe the Bible. White people write this and whoever wrote this. Today we have a lot of fact-checking going on. Everybody fact-checking. So the fact-checker is the Spirit of the Most High himself, the Ruach HaKodesh. He's the fact-checker. And when you know him, you know his spirit, you know his voice. That's why it's important to know his voice. Many people are being controlled and manipulated by the quote-unquote Bible because they do not know the voice of Yah. People are saying stock up on the Bible or get a digital copy so when they don't want you to read it. However, Psalms 119:11 said, Thy word have I hid in my heart that I may not sin against you. Yah said he will write his word in our hearts. Jeremiah 31:33, but this shall be the covenant that I will cut with the house of Yisrael. After those days, said Yah, I will put my Torah in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Yah, and they will be my people. Yah promised to send the Ruach HaKodesh in Ezekiel 36:26-27. A new heart also will I give you, and a new Ruach will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will put my Ruach within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall guard my judgments and do them. This was the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh, who will come. He said, I will take away the stony heart and give you a heart of flesh, because this is why our ancestors were not following the law of the Most High, because their heart was not right. They didn't have a heart to hear and a heart to listen to his voice. Their heart was stone. They wanted the food, they wanted to be taken care of, but they didn't want to obey his voice. They didn't want to obey his commandments. And so Yah said, this is what I'm going to do. And that's when the promise, Yahushua said, wait for the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh. And so we don't have the Bible, but we have his spirit. that he said he will place his Ruah, I will place in you. So those persons who are not believing in the Ruah, the Spirit of the Most High, that's why you have so many persons walking around with hard heart. They quoting scriptures in a heart of hate, no love. Just letter, no spirit, just condemnation, just judgment, hardness of their heart, because it is the Ruah that comes and cause your heart to be hard of flesh, so you would feel, you have compassion. Yah knew these times would come. Nothing is taking him by surprise. Sometimes we act as if, oh, what's happening now? He's sitting up and he's so frightened. He knew. And as he always does, he has made preparation. That's why he sent the Ruah ahead. He knew what was going to happen. There is no need for anxiety or to feel overwhelmed by what you're hearing. Just have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice. Just have a heart to be obedient. Just have a heart to hear, to know his voice. None of our ancestors had the Bible. They were all led by his voice. There is one word for voice in the Hebrew. So whenever you see the word voice in the Hebrew, it is H6963, pronounced kol. The definition, from an unused root meaning to call aloud, a voice, a sound, cry, thunder, yell. So when you see the word, when you say the voice of Yah, it's the same word. When you see the voice of man, it's the same word. Kol, one word in the Hebrew for voice. In Genesis 1 and 3, Yah said. And Genesis 1 and 6, Yah said. In Genesis 1 and 9, Yah said. In Genesis 1 and 14, Yah said. Genesis 1 and 24, Yah said. Yah speaks. He is still speaking. Do you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice? From the beginning, Yah was speaking. He never stopped. He's speaking. But we have been trained or taught not to listen. We have been taught just read, follow the Bible. To hear, to say that you are hearing the Father's voice, or he's speaking to you, sounds very strange to some people. Adam and Eve knew his voice. Genesis 3 and 8. And they heard the voice of Yah walking. They heard the voice of Yah walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Abram was led by the voice of Yah. Genesis 22 and 18. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Genesis 26 and 5. And I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto your seed all these countries, and in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and did guard my watch, my commandments, my statutes, and my Torah. Joshua 79 and 7. And Moses hearkened unto all that Yah had commanded him. So Moses followed the voice of Yah. 1 Samuel 3 and 10. And Yah came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant hears. So Samuel was hearing the voice of Yah. Samuel followed the voice of Yah. 1 Kings 9:12. And after the earthquake, a fire, but Yah was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so, when Eliyahu heard it, listen, when Eliyahu heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, What do you hear, Eliyahu? Elihu knew and followed the voice of Yah. You see that? First it was a fire, but Yah was not in the fire. But then he heard a still small voice, and he knew the voice of the Father. So he went to the cave, to the mouth of the cave, so that he can listen and follow the voice of Yah. Our ancestors went into captivity for not obeying his voice. Exodus 9:5. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and guard my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yah Eloheka, to guard and to do all his commandments which I command you this day, that Yah Eloheka will set you on high above all nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yah Eloheka, to guard to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Joshua 5:6. For the children of Yisrael walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Mizraim, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of Yah. Again, John 10:27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. To know his voice, you have to know his spirit. To know his spirit, you have to know his voice. To know his voice, you have to spend time in his presence. They cannot capture Yah in a book. Yah, they are trying to make you think that he's just in a book, that is just a fairy tale. That's why you have so many people that say, oh no, that's allegory, or no, that's metaphor, or no, that's that. Oh no, you can't take it literally. Because you have some people who believe that he is just in that book. That's him. You have people that say, oh, I believe in God, or I know. But to them, it's like it's not real. Or it's just something they say because they haven't experienced him for themselves. And they want you to believe that you can experience him outside of the book. And the book I'm talking about is the Bible. Any experience you have with him have to line up with that book. Oh, that's why you have people that you saying, but like this is like no, and that ain't in the scripture. Yah is not just in a book written on pages that you can or they have manipulated. The quote unquote Bible is not Yah. The Bible is not Yah. The Bible is not the only word of Yah. The Bible contains the written word of Yah spoken at that time to those who had a heart to know and a heart to hear his voice. That's other people experience. That's rackets of other people experience. The Bible contains prophecies that are being fulfilled now. That's how we know it's authentic. Because what is written in it will come to pass. If it's the word of Yah, it will come to pass. Matthew 3:17, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. A voice from heaven came saying, this is my beloved Son. They heard a voice. That was then. But Yah is still speaking. He's always speaking. You can't live by the Bible alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. Matthew 4:4. Know his voice. They can take the Bible from you. That's people's fear. But they cannot take his voice. Do you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice? And these last days, I want to strongly admonish you to listen to and follow his voice. I want to encourage you to have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice. Many people will come who mean well, who would say they mean you well, never experience this, and will give you quote unquote good advice based on what they see, they prophesy in the natural and what they perceive in the spiritual. But Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says Yah, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." I know, says Yah, the thoughts. Men can come and say, you got to decide who you're going to follow. What they say, or are you going to follow the one who says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you? You have to follow the one I suggest. That's what I do. You follow the one who knows the plans for you. You have to know and listen to his voice. If what others come saying to you lines up with his voice, what he is saying to you, then you know that it's him. Yahushua said, my sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. So when people come saying stuff to you, and it doesn't line up with what the Most High said to you, then you know it's not him. And in this hour, that's why we have to know his voice, because there are a lot of people saying a lot of stuff. And many persons are being deceived. You can imagine someone coming telling you what God is saying to you about you, and you ain't know, and he never said it to you. And I used to tell people, he's talk. Me and them, we just talk. We talk. You understand? But then I knew, and I was seeking for his voice. Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things are written aforetime were written for our instructions, that we through patience and comfort of the scripture might have hope. Yah is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He changed not. Hebrews 13:8. And this is what pressed upon me as a little girl. When I read in the scripture and I saw the works and the miracles and this and how he was speaking to people, I was saying, no, I want you to speak to me. I don't want no one come and bring me no message. God say and God say. If he's saying it, let him say it to me. The Bible records our ancestors' experience with Yah. Are you having experiences with him? He spoke to them. Is he talking to you? Do you know his voice? The word is spirit and it is life. People should see the evidence of the living word in your life. We should be daily encouraging each other with our experience with Yah and what he's revealing to us in this hour. We should be writing books of our experiences with Yah for the next generations, our experiences. The Bible was written years ago. The generation today need to see that Yah is still the same as then, that he is still speaking, he is still moving. That is why many of today's generation to question the authenticity of the scripture, because you tell them what is written there, but you are demonstrating something else. We are bragging on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Moses, and Joshua experience with Yah. But they're not seeing the evidence of what you are saying in the Bible in your life today. Where are the experiences you are having with Yah from following his voice? I share with my children my experiences with the Most High. You are quoting the scripture, but where's the fruit of the word of or voice of Yah in your life? Why is the word not alive in your life? Is it because you don't really know him? So you are just quoting what the Bible say, a religious spirit, but you have not made the connection that the word you are speaking is alive. The scripture was written for our learning, not for us to debate, for us to learn the ways of Yah so that we will follow his voice. The main thing we should learn, or we should have learned from our ancestors who walk faithfully with Yah, is that they follow his voice, and that's how they were successful from following his voice. And when our ancestors were obedient to his voice, they were prosperous. And when they were not obedient to his voice, they were cursed and defeated. It is the same today. Do you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice? His voice is his presence in your life. John 16:3, I'm going to leave you with this. Yahushua said, "Howbeit, when he, the Ruach Emeth, the Spirit of truth is come, he will guide you into all truth, law, Torah, instructions. For he will not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come." That's the presence. The Ruach HaKodesh voice is the presence of the Most High in your life. The Father, that's the Father speaking. Are you listening? Do you have a ears to hear, a heart to hear his voice? Because he's speaking. And don't let anyone say to you, he doesn't speak. This is not the time to have people telling you what he say. You need to know his voice for yourself. You understand? Because when you know that, then you won't have to be concerned about what's going on around you. You won't have to be afraid because he will let you know. He's going to show you before it happened. But you have a lot of persons who are walking in fear because they don't know the voice of the Most High. And they are even afraid to say, "Well, Yah said this to me," or the Spirit said. We always say, "Something said to me," or "I thought I heard something say." You got to have that confidence to say, "The Ruach said to me such and such a thing." And we have to speak that and be bold so that people will know. There are a lot of persons who still thinking the Father don't speak because we who know him or say we know him, we are afraid to testify and exclaim what we know. We have to be the witness of his voice. Do you have a heart to hear, a heart to listen to his voice? Shalom.